Hello, welcome to our Smith Bearing Training and Educational Series. This is episode number 5. Today we're going to talk about what we put inside of our bearings. People all think, it's a bearing. What's in ball bearings? Well, no, we do use ball bearings, but there's also many things that we can put inside the rolling element of a bearing to help your application. So first off, we offer a full complement version. Now, full complement is this right here. As you can see, we load the needles on the raceway, and there is no cage. They're touching each other. And this gives you more load capabilities across the outer race of the bearing. Now, we also offer a cage series. Now, what you would do is you take these needles that you see here, and they're going to go inside this cage, and they are in turn going to go into the rolling element. Why you would use a cage is if I'm up against some speed. Now, the cage also helps with the less shearing of grease. You inherently, in a needle bearing full complement cam follower, you are going to have some shearing of grease because the needles touch each other. You have less shearing because the needles actually ride in these caged pockets, and the grease will attach itself to the cage as well as to the needles. Now this bearing here over here, this is my bearing on steroids, guys. This has double row, as you can see inside there. That's a double row bearing, okay? So I talked about shearing of grease earlier, okay? The double row is going to cause less shearing of grease because you don't have the needles touching each other, okay? The double row also gives you some side loading and some thrust load capabilities as well, also. And then we also put ball bearings inside of our cam followers. So instead of having a needle in there, or a double row in there, we're gonna put a ball bearing in there. Okay. Then we come over to our tapered roller bearing that we also offer. So instead of having the needles in there, or the ball bearings in there, or the rollers in there, we actually install a tapered roller bearing. And why do we do this? Sometimes we deal with applications where they are going to be setting something on the bearing, be it a coil of steel. Let's call it a coil of steel. And the operator is having a rough time putting the coils on the piece of chain that it rides on, okay? What they do is they usually make the bearing out of the bearing assembly will have a tapered roller bearing in it. Think about your car, your front wheel of your car. They have tapered roller bearings in them. They take that pounding of the potholes that we drive in, okay? So if I have an application where the customer might not know what he's gonna see in the application, he doesn't know that maybe there's gonna be some side loading, we generally like to go to a tapered roller bearing. Now, the problem with going to a tapered roller bearing is it doesn't like really high speeds. Okay, not when you get into this size and stuff like that. Now, obviously, when you get to a smaller size, yes, the speed helps a little bit, okay? Now, you're going to see these over here. They're like, oh, we put a bronze bushing. So this is a bronze bushing that's oil impregnated. So once again, instead of using a needle, a taper, a ball bearing, this is actually going to be on your rolling surface. All right, and generally these are used in an application where the bearing is going to be constantly lubricated, okay? Generally what we call an oil bath. So that's generally why you use this bearing here, okay? Now we also offer a non-metallic Delrin rolling element. As you can see, same thing. This is going to go on your raceway, and we can do some load calculations and see if this bearing will actually meet your needs. But once again, not really for high speeds, but like I said, a low impact application, perfect. Now, we also get into something where we call our peak. Peak is usually a non-metallic bearing, and it has high temperature applications. We actually took this product from our aerospace offering. So bakeries, obviously in a bakery, what's the last thing you want to do? You don't want to have grease near your bread, near any of your baked goods or any of that, okay? But I have an application where I have to bake the bread in the oven. That non-metallic version of that peak works spectacular. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Join us next time for more Smith Bearing information.